Hello and welcome to Women in Business Wednesdays. We have our very special guest of the week, Ieshia Anderson. Welcome, Iesha.
Hi.
How are
I'm
you?
doing well, thank you.
Doing okay. Thank you so much for jumping on here and sharing a little bit of your time and talking about your story and before FFL and then since you've been with FFL. So you've only been here, you're with FFL KMF network.
Yes, ma'am.
What state are you in?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
You're in Pennsylvania. Okay. Okay. And then you've been with FFL since March
March.
24th.
Yes.
So not quite 6 months yet.
Not yet.
Okay, perfect. So give the audience and the women, tell us a little bit about your story, how you got started in insurance, what you did before you came to FFL, and then kind of why did you come to FFL?
Okay. Well, my name is Ieshia Anderson. Prior to insurance, I was a paralegal. I got my break in insurance, my freedom of insurance, I should say.
Yeah.
I started with Primerica. That was in 2010.
You can't say name of companies.
Sorry. I started with a practice company in 2010. Can we start over?
Well, it's all good. Like, we haven't said anything any kind of negative way, so it's all good. We just won't talk about them again.
Okay. And I started with that company. I started with the practice company to get my feet wet in insurance. And I went to another company, which I've been with them I was with them for 10 years.
Okay.
10 years. And I came over to FFL, like I stated, in March.
Okay.
I came over to FFL because I was able to help more people. I was just in one line of business in my practice.
Okay. And so what were you doing? Like, what were you actually doing?
For the other company?
Yeah,
final expense.
Only final expense.
Only final expense, yes.
Okay, so you went from only term to only final expense. And then what brought you to FFL? Outside of being able to help more people, I mean, that's a big deal. But
yeah,
what else?
Just before I came, a good friend of mine had been here already a year.
Okay.
And she talked about it. And it was a lot of talk about FFL.
Yeah,
there was a lot of talk about it. So I started going on YouTube. And I was like, they're giving all this information for free.
Right.
I was like, everything is for free. So I started using some of the material, like how we track our calls and stuff with my team.
Okay.
My dad's company. So we were using a lot of methods from the company.
Wow.
Yeah. And then once my it just was a light bulb switch, really. And when a good friend of mine decided to expand his business, it made sense. I'm like, okay. Well, I keep sending people to other agents, but I can't help them. I have other friends who, my good girlfriend I was telling you about, she lived in a whole other state, and she couldn't be on my team with the other company.
Okay.
Because we were territorial.
Okay, got you.
So there's other people who wanted to be a part of my team. I just couldn't help them. Like, you know what? Just to start to make sense.
Right.
So that was and then I went to the spring conference, and that was a deciding factor.
You went to the sales conference, and
yes.
Where was it?
It was in Chester, actually.
Okay, in Chester, Pennsylvania. Okay.
Yes.
And so after that, it was all she wrote, right?
It was all she wrote. And I was so it happened in this order. I was told about the company. I already knew about it. Christine L. Can I say names? Christine L.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Christine L. had told me, say, hey sis, get on this thing called Live Dials. It was on a Saturday.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is what they do over here. So for 12 hours on that Saturday, I was on Live Dials.
And you just sat and watched.
Well, I was making my own calls with my practice company.
Okay.
But I was on there, and people asking questions. I was able to help them. I was like, oh, I like this whole setup.
Yeah.
And that following Monday was the sales conference.
Okay, got you.
Those two things was like, yup, this is where I want to be.
Okay, got you. Okay, that's good. So what would you say? So after you like I said, you tried to go a couple different companies before coming to FFL. Now I know that you were sharing with me a little bit about your story. This is where I was going. I forgot where I was going, so I led myself back there. But you have you had some trials and tribulations throughout your insurance career, right?
Yes.
And I think a lot of times, Iesha, people think that, especially if you come or you go into a business and you're having immediate success, it's not because you're that great, it's because you paid the price somewhere else, right? So the things that take the average person out of the business is not going to bother you because you've been through so many other things earlier on in your career, right? So that it makes FFL just look easy because you know what you've been through, right? Yeah. So talk about that. Well, let's talk about a little bit about the things that you've been through. Now, you told me too that your mom passed away 2 weeks ago, right? Yeah. And I'm sorry to hear that. I lost my mom when I was 19. Don't cry. Try not to. But the beauty of it is that you're still here. Like, there's so many other people that would say, oh, I can't do it because this happened and that happened. Life is going to happen, especially if you run a business, right? And so what is it that keeps you moving and keeps you going, even though you've had these things around you that's happened to you and those things haven't stopped you?
So just the importance of, I'm going to stick to the importance of life insurance itself. One of the first things that happened to me in this industry is my children, unfortunately, was in the wrong place at the wrong time and they got shot.
Oh, you said your children?
I had 2 sons.
Both of them got shot at the same time?
At the same time. They were with their uncle at a bar and they both were shot. My youngest son was flatlined when he got to the hospital. They had to bring him back. And that was hard, that emotional. And people used to say, why you got insurance on these kids so young?
Because you don't know what's going to happen.
I live in Philadelphia. Well, I live outside of Philadelphia, but that was in 2014. That day, when I got the call 3 o'clock in the morning, I had to run to the hospital to go see them. I had 3 appointments that day in the state of Delaware. And while my children were in recovery, my one son was in surgery, my other one was in recovery. What could I do? I can sit in the hospital and cry.
And wait, right.
But I didn't. I went to those appointments.
Wow.
And one of the appointments I went on was a mother with 2 sons. She wanted to get them insured. And they did not want to get them. Mom, that's spooky. Why would you want to do that? And I told her, and I started crying. I said, oh my God, I'm sorry. You didn't hurt your feelings. I said, no, you didn't hurt my feelings. My sons are laying in the hospital right now with gunshot wounds. 21 and 20.
Wow. And
your mother wants to make sure that when something does happen to you, because no one leaves here alive.
Yeah. I say that all the time.
So, and when they heard my story, they said, oh my God. And it was like, okay, Mom, we get it. So while I couldn't help my children at that time, I was able to help somebody else.
There you go.
And that resonated with me. Like, I can sit here. My family criticized me. Like, how are you going to go to work and you got them laying in this hospital? What can I do?
Right.
Sit here and cry.
Yeah.
And pray. I had to keep myself busy.
Yeah.
I had to keep myself busy. And that right there was one. When my oldest son got out of the hospital, they immediately took him to jail because there was a gun in the car, their uncle's car.
Okay. Wow.
Their uncle didn't claim the gun. So they knew my son, who was darn near dead. He didn't have the gun. They figured the one who was survived, was still
okay. Yeah.
So I was told by the attorney who was going to take his case, I had to have $15,000. Okay. To take the case.
Yeah.
Well, if I was still a paralegal at the law firm, I was getting the same salary every 2 weeks.
There's no way you would have been able to come with that.
Life insurance, I told my manager at the time, I said, I need to take hold of my team. I got to make this money to get my son out of this trouble. I was not letting the public defender take that case.
Come on.
So I said, please grab hold of my team. I got to go. And when I tell you, and I was running the state of Delaware at the time, I went I just bought a whole bunch of leads and went out there with a purpose. Not only just to help my sons, but to help other people who were out here with no insurance.
See, I love that.
I remember sitting in the bed. We used to have morning calls. I remember sitting in the middle of my bed, and I check every morning I wake up. I check 3 things: is my email, my credit score, and my bank account.
I know that's right.
not YouTube, not Instagram. No, I check those 3 things.
Okay.
I check my email. We got advanced deposit reports.
Yeah.
And I checked that one the night before, that morning. I was like, And I checked my bank account next, and I had the money.
Wow.
And I sat in the bed that bed and I screamed and I cried. I said, thank you. Oh my God, thank you. So I called the lawyer. I said, I have your money.
Yeah. But that only comes from like some form of mental tough. Like that didn't just, you didn't fall into that, right? You did, so you took some very, I can't think of the word. You took some very deliberate actions, right? And said, okay, this is what I need to do. And then you had a vehicle, right? Even though it wasn't with FFL. So let me ask you this. If you were with FFL at that time, you would have been able to probably make that money a lot quicker than what it took you when you were with the other company.
Absolutely. With that same work ethic and that same, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
That same urgency, I definitely would have.
So you took, so this is what so many people don't get, Iesha, and talk to the people. Like people give a lot of excuses. I just had this conversation the other day about excuses. Like you can either make excuses or you can make adjustments, but you can't do both, right? And so we got, you know what I'm saying, people that won't even do what they need to do to even finish the class, knowing that what's in front of them could change their life financially. And then again, where can you go that you can go in outside of insurance, that you can go with a I know in Maryland the life insurance license is $70, with a $70 life insurance license, and decide I need to make this money for whatever the case comes up, and you are able to do it, like without a degree. You know what I'm saying? Even if we were surgeons, we can't decide if we want to go out and do all these surgeries unless people are coming to us looking for surgeries, right? But here we can say, okay, I'm gonna buy a stack of leads and I'm gonna run these leads and I'm gonna make the money that I need to make because I need to take care of something that I don't have control over. But because you had the ability to make money, you have options.
Yes. So just with that right there, now I have 3 children. So let me put a disclaimer on that. I have 1 biological child.
Okay.
And I have the two sons that were in that situation. They're my son's brothers. Their father was murdered in Father's Day 2001. I promised to take care of them regardless.
Okay.
So my son at the time of that shooting was incarcerated.
Okay.
For a dumb crime he committed when he was young, got himself jammed up, and he was in jail.
Yeah.
My son has been, I'm so proud to say, come the 3rd of November, he'll be done parole, 10 years.
Nice.
He was released. I started my journey with my company that I was with 10 years when he got locked up.
Okay.
So fast forward, my son's been home since 2016. He got a job, doing really well. Then he became an entrepreneur because of his mother.
Yeah.
Everybody else. The pandemic hit. He was working he was a union worker.
Okay.
Everybody got laid off because of the pandemic.
Even somebody in the union. How about that?
Laid off, no income, no nothing.
Yeah.
So they did the PUA money and all that stuff. So when they gave him that lump sum of money, he went out and started a trucking business.
Nice. See, that's smart.
He did. So he's been doing that for the last 2 years.
Okay.
When I decided to come to FFL and he saw the difference in what I was doing.
Yeah.
My son said, he kept saying, I wish I could get my license. I wish I could get my license. I said, wait a minute, you can. I sent him the testing information that we gave for FFL. For 30 days. I sent it to him on a Tuesday. Saturday, he was done. He took his test the next Saturday and passed.
Come on.
Only thing we're waiting for right now is for the state to approve it because he's a felon, so he had to do a 1030 change. They're gonna give it to him.
Amen. I love that. How old is he?
He's 29.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's dope. Like, can you? I know for me, how old are you, Iesha? If you don't mind,
I'll be 50 November 25th.
You look good. So I know, like, if I would have started insurance when I was in my 20s, girl.
and here's the thing: he saw what I did for his brothers by taking that lawyer.
Yeah.
I took care of him the whole time he was incarcerated. He never went without money. Every month I took care of him.
Yeah.
When he came home, insurance money allowed for me to pay for his rent for a year, give him a brand new Infinity car to drive. I made sure that he had no reason not to succeed in this society.
Yeah, for sure. Right. If you fail, it ain't because I didn't help you. You didn't get a chance.
Exactly.
You got the opportunity. And more than most people get.
And today not today right now because he stopped doing the trucking right now because he's been focused on his life. He can tell you about FFL more than I can tell you about it. He said, Mom, you got to watch this person's podcast. You got to watch Sean Michael. He said that. I'm like, I work for the company.
Well, you know, my son, he's 21. He's still not convinced. But what he does say, he'll be like, Mom, he's like, you're rich, right? And I'm like, kind of. And it's so rewarding for them, because what a great example you're able to set is like, okay, you show them not quitting, you show them you can get whatever you want to get if you put your mind to it. Like, you set so many different examples for them, like as young men, you know what I'm saying, about, and then you're a woman, you know what I'm saying, so like if my mama can do it, I know I can do it. Girl, yeah. I would love to continue this on, but you know I don't like to keep it past 15 minutes.
Gotcha.
So Iesha, if are you building a business? Are you hiring? You recruiting? I am. So if someone wants to join your team, how do they get in touch with you?
They can reach me by my cell phone.
Okay.
267-595-6995.
Okay.
They can email me at info@ibainsurers.com.
Okay.
Or they can go to my website, ibainsurers.com.
And what about social media?
I am on Iesha and Iesha Blount on social media. I don't have my business page up and ready yet.
But they can still, that's a good you just gave 4 different ways to be able to reach you. So I would love to have you back on here. Like, I like to talk you, like, it's great to have women that are on here that are new, and then fast forward a year from now to see what's going on in a year. So thank you so much for your time, Iesha. I really appreciate it. Thank you for telling part of your story, but I know there's more to go. So, there's no testimony about tests. So, you know, thank God for those things that you went through, because those just made you stronger. And like I said, it sets a great example for other people around you. And the other thing that it does, it takes excuses away. So I'm sure the people on your team, they can't just be saying, "Oh,
they say you so hard on me." I'm like, no, because I've been through everything and anything you're gonna go through, and I'm
right. You like, okay, and what's the problem? Because
most of your problems are you need money, and this is the vehicle that's going to get you what you need. If you help somebody, you're going to get compensated very well for it.
Yes. All right, girl. Thank you so much again for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for jumping on Women in Business Wednesdays. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Queen.